Just server at Restream or Trovo has gotten much better because it was instantly green. I have to admit, it is kind of nice to have, less crap happening in the day, so I just don't feel so rushed. Especially now that I'm at the last stretch of my character UI design course, and interestingly enough, the UI template that I'm about to use, Unreal Advanced Battle Royale, one of the commenters, or I guess the review, actually said, man, that leg cramp in my right, my right calf muscle is definitely acting up, so I'm definitely going to keep exercising it until it stops with the spasms. So this was August 2nd. For some reason I thought it was this month, but I probably confused it with this guy's question. So it actually says that I have zero game design or Unreal Engine experience, and with the help of the tutorial videos and a fast response from the creator helping with the issues, I've been able to easily navigate and customize the setup. Great for beginners. I'm sure somebody who knows what they're doing will be able to turn this template into something special. 1000% recommended. But yeah, I can tell from the videos that this thing is really well made. So it'll be it'll be pretty interesting. And the good news is, now that I have this UI course, I actually know how to, basically, design a nice looking HUD and create like a, add to viewport and all that stuff. So it's just a matter of dealing with the multiplayer queuing system. But I'll probably take I might want to take this week off until Saturday or Sunday and then start work. I need to give myself, because I haven't had a break in a while. So anyway, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to take such a long, even if a few days off is I feel like is a lot. We'll see. All right, so things are looking pretty good, across the board. So I guess whatever fear there was, I guess that's not in the cards for the time being. So we'll just have to see. The dollar's slightly weaker, Riot's up. It's not up a lot, but at least it's a 5% change. I mean, it's way behind, so it really needs to come back up. But yeah, stock markets did pretty well. Precious metals is down. Crude oil is surging, so of course the markets are up. Now, of course, Bitcoin and crypto across the board's doing well. And then, yeah, money left the bond market a little bit. Spokesman says, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure all the right-wing grifter losers are just saying oh, Mark Miller's a Chinese commie agent, blah, blah, blah. It's the Republican Party just makes me so freaking sick because all these stupid Republicans and conservatives just eat this shit up. And they don't realize that everyone's just scamming them. And then they wonder why, they haven't even figured out yet that that's the reason why nothing's going to change for the better. So, I'll give this second video game thing a try. Try and get people to, forgive their mom and dads more and then see how it goes. Because I've been spending the past week, really trying to do silent prayer, try to get my emotions under control, and it definitely is working. Especially with the trademark issues that I'm now dealing with. So, it's okay, how do I enforce it? How do I protect myself kind of thing? So it's a rather interesting situation. I'm thinking, should I have even, done any of this stuff? But now that I'm very committed, obviously, well, we gotta make the best of it. Normies are suffering from cognitive dissonance. I love to see it. What do you mean? What normies? And in regards to what? The Mark Milley stuff? I don't have news on my Twitter feed. I set it to Brazil, so I have no idea what's going on, and I only occasionally check to see what's happening on Saint Nick's, Gab and his live show, which I barely even do now. Not only am I just too busy, but I just don't want to hear any of it anymore. Because I know it's all rigged. Right? If anything, I'm actually getting all my news really from Jesse Lee Peterson now, since I've been watching his show so much. That's kind of like my form of going to church, I guess. But yeah, what do you mean, Pharaoh? By what normies? Cognitive dissonance in regards to what? You'll have to bring me up to speed on that one. Let's see. We're good there. Alright, so let's take a look at crypto. So Bitcoin's at 48K, that's good. We're going to look at the chart, RSI chart for it. Cardano has finally stopped whacking off, so that's doing well. Binance coin is up a good amount, so as expected. Yeah, so everything across the board is doing very well. Lead chain caught a nice bid. I know, yeah, 4%. Not the greatest, but hey, I'll take it. Coin's doing all right. I know Pancake Swap's back at 22.25. I know Jet Swap's doing pretty well too. Now it's at 43.8 cents, so very, very good. That negative number is starting to get smaller and smaller. Let's see. Shiba Inu does okay. So, and apparently, so I've been playing. So obviously, I already said that I've been playing a lot of Binapet, right? And looks like Twitter has deleted 2 people that I was following for some reason. Okay, let me see. Well, I don't see anything down here missing. So apparently they had some kind of weird hacker situation, so they had to see. They just said they adjusted the upgrade chance and like the odds of your egg hatching like good things. So now I don't know if I want to like buy any more pets, because I did notice that like a couple of nights ago when I would normally get a rare pet, I kept getting shitty pets. So I was like, I was thinking maybe it could be bad luck. So I did it again. So now I'm out like $1,500 or whatever because of these shitty retard pets. And now I'm thinking, okay, they obviously must have nerfed something. And now that I read this, it appears that it might have something to do with this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to report you too. I really hate these spam F words that just beg for money. And they literally just clutter up everything. Yeah, I don't see too many people complaining about, which is kind of annoying. I mean, that's the thing. Like, at least Binance did have a lot more activity, but Binapet is, I think, a much more stable project. It doesn't look as good, but that doesn't really matter as much. So, but whatever. I'm making money off of buying a pet, so eventually I'll get my money back. Though I'm actually going to just keep buying more and more pets, but this time definitely from the marketplace, because I'm not touching those eggs. I know that I'm asking for trouble. Yeah, Mobox is doing well. I talked about Jet Swap. Okay. Normies are seeing their quality of life and freedom decline, even though they got the jab and follow the rules. They are slowly realizing they have been fooled for a long time. Well, that's actually a good thing if they're starting to wake up. But, I mean, they kind of need to wake up faster and in greater numbers so that we can turn this shit around. I do have an interesting anecdote, though. I was walking out I went to Burger King today before I started the stream. And, it's kind of far from where I am. But, I noticed that there is a restaurant. And I looked inside. No one was wearing masks, including the employees. Like, almost nobody was wearing masks. And you're not supposed to do that. Because, like, the New York City, like, vaccine mandate laws and shit like that. And I thought, that's actually that's a pretty good development. And then, of course, I don't wear a mask, right? So I go into Burger King, I get my food. Nobody bothers me, right? I also see other people not wearing masks either. So it's important that I do my part and not wear my mask either. So, and it made me realize that, I still have to overcome fear and anger, which is why I'm doing the silent prayer. Actually, I got to do that, once I'm done with the stream, because I haven't actually did it since this morning. And then number 2, it really is all in my head, just like everyone else. If we, just simply said, nah, whatever, then, I mean, what's the city really going to do, right? The city literally has like a million things that are considered illegal, and they never enforce it, because how the hell are they expected to enforce anything, right? Cops do the same thing. What are they supposed to enforce? Like what, go arrest someone for jaywalking? Because jaywalking is illegal in New York City, and it always has been, for like, the longest time. But aside from Rudy Giuliani, the cops never enforce that law, right? The apartment building that I live in, right? You're not supposed to have a basement because it violates the building codes. So they charge them like a $300 fee or whatever. I know it because the city put a notice on the front door and taped it there to let them know. Well, guess what? They added 2 apartments to the basement, and there's even a doorbell buzzard for the basement apartments. So like they just nobody cares. It's just like, yeah, whatever, F your rules. We do what we want. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And now that I talk about it, I now realize that kind of applies to my trademark situation. Yeah, you're not supposed to violate my trademarks, but people do it anyway. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna need some more peace so that I can at least just try to deal with it in a way that at least won't, screw me over, kind of thing. All right, because people probably violate Nintendo all the time, or Microsoft is very aggressive, and so is Apple. But like a vast majority of companies, especially entertainment companies that have trademarks violated all the time, I mean, I guess they just let it go. All right, they file what they need to, and then that's that. All right, and of course, if they get sued or blocked, then they're obviously going to retaliate. But I don't think I don't think that's actually really that common, if at all. Because usually if you're trying to steal someone's trademark, you usually don't want to piss off the guy you're stealing from, because then they'll just, then you put a target on yourself. So, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I even put in a request with Steam to ask if some other asshole could pretend to be my company names, because I already claimed it on Steam, obviously, right? Dragonfire and Dragonflare Studios. Man, I don't know. I'll hear back from Steam. But I also did a Google search for it. Haven't seen any problems. So, all right. I mean, maybe maybe I'm over analyzing everything. Oh well, we'll see. But the important thing is I just spread my wings, get my stuff going. Oh, and the one time that I'm on time or start early, Greg has not come out with his video yet. Oh, man. Alright. I guess we're going to take a look at this. I mean, I guess we're going to try Cryptos R Us, too. Real reason to blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? Market update, don't care. Peter Schiff got wrecked. Yep. Reserves are dangerously low. I did hear that from him, and then I retweeted about that a couple of days ago. More good Bitcoin metrics, Bitcoin ETF. Coinbase to buy 2 billion crypto buy soon. Solana FUD, other crypto news. I guess we're only interested in this part.
Squeeze. It's just kind of the same thing. And another way to look at the fact that there's just...
Look at this green line. I assume the gray line is the price of Bitcoin? Yeah, that's the price of Bitcoin. And then green is long-term holder supply shock ratio. So I think the higher this thing is, the better.
There's not enough supply to go around. And whenever you have a supply squeeze, you can see when it gets into the green zone, I don't know how he measures it, but whenever there's a supply squeeze, the price goes up, right? You can see supply squeeze, price goes up. And we're seeing the same thing now. So I've been showing you guys a lot of metrics recently about things like this. A liquid supply, supply shock, supply squeeze, reserves, right? They're all pointing upwards, okay? Meaning they're all indicating that Bitcoin is about to have a rocket ship of a ride within the next few months, and I'm looking forward to that. Also, what may drive things up is this. Fidelity, one of the biggest assets.
Yeah. Have you thought about buying some rural land and having a homestead being off the grid, or is that not my thing? Not only is that not my thing, I mean, I'm a technologist ultimately, so I'm always going to be living in the city. Now, would I mind having a little bit of a space or whatever? I mean, maybe. I actually would not mind eventually, if I want to start my entertainment company, that I'm going to need a lot of physical space. So, buying up some rural land would be very helpful for that, and then I have to build all the infrastructure to connect to it. But no, I know Owen Benjamin's big on that, but the primary reason why I don't like it is conceptually that's exactly what Deep State wants. They want you to go off on your own, off the grid, and just be isolated and not a threat to anyone. You'll just be viewed correctly as just some idiot nut living on his own, right? There's a reason why Saint Nick is on, say, an FBI terror watch list, and say Owen Benjamin is not, right? So, you know, uh, I'm not trying to bash Owen Benjamin. I'm just basically just disagreeing with the concept of going off the grid. It's somewhat basically there's the boomer mindset, which is off the grid shit, and then there's the actual I want to say younger or modern day point of view, which is what me and Saint Nick would go with. Right? You're not gonna beat this world by withdrawing from it. That literally makes no sense. I mean, you're literally handing Satan the world. We're not supposed to do that. And that's the problem with conservatives in general, especially boomers. We in general blame everyone and don't take responsibility. My eyes are itchy. And we just don't engage with the world. We just complain. It's the same exact stupid thing with the culture war shit. Conservatives love to complain about the culture war, but they literally produce no culture. It's like it's so it makes me feel stupid just thinking about that, right? So because I guarantee you if my game does well, right, and I'm putting out all this JLP Christian teaching stuff, I guarantee you not a single effing conservative is going to help promote it, except like the actual rank and file people, and of course probably Saint Nick too. Right? And there's going to be a reason for that. And I don't know, I guess I'll figure it out then. But I definitely see that the way forward is to definitely. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different opinions on this, but I really do think if the Republican Party does go away, that would make things better. All right. I mean, unfortunately, the accelerationist point of view might actually be better. Because right now, everyone is just being deceived by your Jack Posobics of the world and your Fox Newses of the world and your Breitbarts of the world. And maybe to a lesser degree the Daily Caller, which is owned by Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson has to hire whoever he can get his hands on. So obviously he's going to have infiltrators working at the Daily Caller, right? Your Ben Shapiro's. Like, if none of them had that power, then all that would be left would be people having to face the truth of everything, But that's kind of an extreme situation. So of course, like you said earlier, the normies don't see their quality. If the normies don't wake up, and hopefully they are, because they see their quality of life and freedom decline, as you just said, then we gotta go with my suggestion, which is to destroy the Republican Party. On the flip side, I kind of don't want to do that because I also I'm moving to Tampa, right? I kind of don't want to hand that over to the Democrats either, so I'm kind of stuck. And of course, the Republicans know that. Which is why they take advantage of the situation. It's just like the most frustrating and annoying thing in the world. So, and again, it's all because people are angry at their mother and father, right? Everyone's got a false sense of what Christianity is, so they wind up becoming culture war criminal, right? A fake Christian, fake conservative, Bible thumping F word. And apparently he did piss off Nick Fuentes and the Groypers because I would actually hear some donators to St. Nick's show, and they actually would insult CWC. So I'm glad that he's finally been exposed for the piece of shit that he really is. And hopefully Ethan Ralph was smart enough to just not continue to associate with him. And I haven't heard anyone say that he was talking more shit about me, so I assume Ethan Ralph probably figured out to keep his mouth shut, which is exactly how I like that. So, yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of work. Oh man, I lost. And so there's a lot of work to be done, but I don't know. I mean, we'll have to just take it a day at a time. And it's funny too, because Jesse said on the show today, just keep voting, and I'm thinking that ain't gonna work because everything's rigged. Oh well. All right, let me see.
Asset managers.
I'm pretty sure he's gotta have his video up pretty soon on his YouTube. Yeah, there we go. We'll look at this right after Cryptosaurus, because I do want to listen to these metrics, because I haven't been watching Georgia at all.
On Earth
for like
urges SEC to approve Bitcoin ETF. And the reasoning is very interesting. It's a law that I did not know existed. But they own $4.2 trillion worth of assets. So they're one of the big boys. When you think about like BlackRocks of the world, who's under BlackRock? Fidelity. Okay, so they're like number 2 or up there. They're really, really big. So they had a secret meeting with our friend Gary Gensler,
Really?
a secret meeting about Bitcoin futures, but not just Bitcoin future ETFs, but Bitcoin ETFs in general. Okay, because Gary was saying how he's more likely to approve a Bitcoin futures ETF, which is not really based on Bitcoin at all. But Fidelity's like, no, we want approval for a Bitcoin ETF, which they have an application for. And here's the rule. So there's a 1930s law about ETFs. Firms should be able to meet investor demand for direct exposure to Bitcoin through 1930s law of ETFs because the Bitcoin market has matured and can support them. Interesting. I'll have to look more into that law, but I'm guessing it has something to do with the fact that if the market demand, for something, a commodity, correct, let's say, there's enough foundation to support and it has matured, then yes, the SEC should allow a ETF. That's what I'm interpreting, and that is the argument that Fidelity is throwing out there. And if we do get a Bitcoin ETF too this year, which is unlikely, we only have like 4 months left of this year or 3 months. But if we do get one, man, that's going to also cause injection of good stuff into the market, and it's going to cause things to explode up in a big way because ETFs that have direct exposure to Bitcoin, a lot of big guys, rather than worry about how to buy Bitcoin and store them, they rather buy a Bitcoin ETF. That's why Grayscale Trust is so popular, but Grayscale Trust works very differently than a traditional ETF. But Canada's Bitcoin ETF, Purposes ETF, is doing very well, and the AUM keeps rising. And that could be the reason why Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, the premium is in the negative because everyone is buying Purposes Bitcoin ETF instead. So we need to have some ETFs in the United States, and maybe Fidelity and others can convince SEC and Gary of it. So that is also something to look forward to. What else is there? Oh, this also shows you the demand is out there. Coinbase recently said they're going to sell $1.5 billion. Okay, they wanted to do a corporate raise or a bond raise, I should say.
A junk bond. Okay, that's good enough. All right, that's all I needed to hear. I mean, we didn't get to the part with 100K, but I mean, all we need to know is the supply squeeze. So, more updates. Blah 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 blah. Okay.
Okay, everybody, it is me, Gregory Menarino. I'm very calm right now. I hope it lasts. Anyway, so yes, it is Wednesday, September 15, 2021. This is my post-market wrap-up, and of course, we have stuff to talk about this market. We got economic news. It's just fantastic. I love this part. I really do. All right, look, let's start off with the markets. A rally today on Wall Street, despite all the calls for crashes, for big drops, and everything else. How about no? I don't get it.
Well, not after today.
There's something else going on. They are really trying to keep people in some kind of fear mode, but not you, because you know where to look. I know for a fact that you, if you follow this blog, are keeping your eyes glued to the 10-year yield. Are you watching that? 1.3 today, absolutely stable. Nothing going on here whatsoever. The dollar weaker. Crude oil higher over 3%. And you know how this works, being that crude is the lifeblood of this free
I wonder if crude oil also affects the price of crypto, too.
What else would you expect? Got to get a rally out here. And more bad economic news. Well, of course, that's enough to drive the stock market higher. Before we talk about the bad economic news, you know what? Hold that thought. I've explained to you forever, it seems, that our economy is contracting very, very rapidly as a percentage of GDP. Our debt to GDP ratio is out of control. Now, the bad economic news will continue. It can't stop as our economy continues to contract and shrink. You understand? Has to happen. It's a no-brainer. Okay, we got it. But again, all the news that they're telling you could always be worse. It could actually be worse. That's what they're saying. And they're trying to spin this whole thing. Every piece of bad economic news that we get, they put a spin on it. Because again, you must be lied to. You must be propagandized. You can't know what's going on. Well, we're going to cut through the dog shit, wrapped around in cat shit, sprinkled with bird shit, as we always do in this video blog. So, rally on Wall Street, 10-year yield looking great, weaker dollar, stronger crude oil. I mean, crude's going much higher. That drop that we had, massively bullish in my view. We'll see how that plays out here moving forward. Cryptocurrencies, people, higher across the board, looking very, very good. Gold and silver today under a little bit of pressure, despite the dollar being weaker. Oh, how does that work? It's such a shit show. It really is. But again, these are the spots to be in. What's the game?
Yeah, I just don't
What's
see
the game
precious
right now?
metals ever making
It's
it out.
risk on. Clearly, how do we know that? 10-year yield, dollar, crude oil, Fed's balance sheet, blah, 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 fake news, propaganda, and everything else. Bad economic news. As long as that mechanism or these things stay in place, well, you know, of course the market can move around a little bit. We're in that seasonable time where the market is kind of weak, but look, buy the dips, people. I'm not going to change my perspective on this. As long as these dynamics remain, we will buy every single dip pretty much in every single asset class as the Fed continues to inflate along with other central banks. And they're not done. I've been telling you for years they're going to inflate some more, and then more than that. Yeah, and that's exactly what has been happening. It's out of control. Now let's talk about our economy here. So we got a few pieces of interesting, yes, news. Now, again, I'm laughing. I'm so sorry to be laughing about this, but it's the truth. So we found out that in August, U.S. industrial production fell. Oh, really? Oh, how did... explain that to me, because we're supposed to be doing so well.
Wow.
On top
Holy
of that,
shit, that
manufacturing
fucking
also dropped well. As our economy shrinks, you would expect all this to happen as well. Now, incomes fell along with industrial production and manufacturing. Now, if you adjust for inflation, incomes are plummeting. But again, the market loves it. How do we know that? Look at the stock market today. It went higher. People, we are literally in the middle of and this is just the middle of it. Maybe even not even the middle. We're not even, this is going to get much worse. But we are watching this transition take place from...
I'm just playing my part while listening to this.
We haven't really had a totally free society in quite a long time. But from a free society based on a free market, which we do not have anything at all. Understand, the Fed has been managing this market since the meltdown. They took it over. And henceforth why things are the way they are. They are not allowing free market forces to run the economy. It's managed. It's a managed economy, just like any other third world communist nation. That's what we have. It's a managed economy and a managed market. You understand? I think you do.
The problem is, it works pretty well
because
for
of
China,
that,
so.
these things don't work. Okay, you get an economy that's cratering. Okay, but the wealthy and the well-off could not be doing better. They could not possibly be doing better as the middle class, gets eliminated by design. Okay, the move to this new feudal system that I warned would come from a decade ago. It's pretty much here now, but they're not done. And what that means moving forward is, again, opportunity for you and I to get yourself on the right side of this whole thing, to stay on the right side of this whole thing, and make sure that we don't fall lower. If you happen to be, like I said, well off or rich, you could count on getting more well off and richer. If you are a member of the middle class, you're being sucked completely dry. And this is by design too. And if you're in the lower rung, you're probably not watching this video. You're done already. And unfortunately, the trajectory for this is clearly on target. This is the Fed finishing their endgame, their final solution. You all know that. And it's going to progress as we move forward. So with regard to this market, with regard to cryptocurrencies, with regard to gold and crude oil and pretty much any commodity, how's that? You need to buy the dips. All right, you need to continue to buy the dips across the board. Anyone who's telling you different, if you're listening to some YouTuber or some people who were on YouTube and now got kicked off, whatever, and they're trying to tell you anything different, realize that they're brain dead, okay? And had you been listening to these freaks and the same time you've been listening to me, well, they would have cost you to lose epic sums of cash. Me? I am very proud to say that thousands of people, tens of thousands around the world, have benefited from being a part of this blog. I have worked very hard and diligently to keep every single one of you on the right side of this freak show. Look, we are trading a market and participating in a scheme that goes way beyond the markets. I think we all know that, okay? If you're transacting in dollars or in fiat currency right now, well, you're supporting the beast. There's no other way to do it. They have managed to rig this system in such a way that we must actively participate. How many of you go out there and barter every day? How many of you transact in gold and silver every day? How many of you transact in cryptocurrencies every day exclusively? I would be willing to bet a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. So the beast system is set up so we must participate in it via the banks, shopping, whatever it is. Okay, this is why, again, there's all this pushback on cryptocurrencies being outside the system. You must be in a central bank issued note. That's what they want. But understanding all this, again, allows us to understand what we should be doing. More than likely transacting outside of their system using cryptocurrencies. Maybe you could find someone to barter with. If you want anything from me, I would gladly take cryptocurrency. I would gladly take gold and silver and platinum or palladium or artwork or musical instruments. I'm all about that. Okay, we don't need to transact in their system. We really don't. But they have 99.9% of the people fooled into thinking that they do. And it's funny because it's these same people who yell at me, "Oh, Greg, you're feeding the system. You got to get out of the market." Meanwhile, they're out there fanning out their dollar bills, swiping their debit cards and credit cards and using Federal Reserve issued notes. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. But that's exactly what's going on. These people don't think that they are feeding the beast directly by working for fiat bills that they don't even own. Do you realize that people work for something that they don't even own? When you work, you put in a 40-hour work week, 50, 60, whatever it might be, and you're being paid in a fiat currency like a Federal Reserve note. You don't own them. Those notes are owned by the issuing central bank, in this case the Federal Reserve, and owed back to them with interest that they create out of thin air. It's an IOU. You're being paid with an IOU. That's all it is. And it's not that they owe you. You owe them. You understand? You owe them. You owe that money back to the Fed plus interest they create out of thin air. You want to participate in that system? Good for you. Good for you. I'm trying to find my way out of it. Anyway, with that said, look, we got this covered, you and me, and it's not going to change. Our strategy is straightforward and it's dead on. It's completely perfect as far as I'm concerned. We stay long the market, large cap stocks, dividend paying. Let these companies pay you to own shares of their stock. And there's a lot of large cap companies out there that will pay you a dividend. All right, look it up to own it. With regard to trading this market, it's really not that hard. It's hard if you're buying options, if you're selling options, if you're a net seller like I am. It's like taking candy from a baby. It's
Yeah, I
really
definitely
the
want to
truth,
start
and I
selling
cover this in
options
my
on the
book,
stock market
A
again.
Not So Random Walk on Wall Street. You can get that from my website,
Damn it.
traderschoice.net. Lovely. Anyway, people, I think you got the picture. You know what's going on. Now, tonight, at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this guy right here will be live on the Barrel Buddies. I love being on the Barrel Buddies show. It's a lot of fun. I get to disconnect from this whole stuff. I get to, learn about whiskey and drink a little whiskey.
Okay. Alright, sounds good. Sounds good to me. Alright, so I didn't hear anything too crazy. I guess we could close that. Also, I'm using my own thumbnail now, so figure I don't want to get hit with a DMCA or whatever at some point in the future. Not that I think Cointelegraph ever really actually has any problems, but just to be safe. Bitcoin price off 450k retest. Well, the profit from Bitcoin expiry. Yeah, my options expire September 24th, so I'm hoping Bitcoin can at least close above 50,000. But obviously, I want it way higher than 50,000. So that's 9 days from now, so I could easily do that. EU is set to invest 177 billion. Okay. I wonder how long it takes their artists to do all this artwork. Oh, okay. To pump his own NFTs. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, for the most part, we're just gonna have to enjoy. Oh, I forgot. I completely forgot. Before we go, we gotta look at the RSIs here. Let's see. I mean, I'm not quite convinced yet, but it is looking very, very good. The problem is, I just want to know where's all this fear. Okay, well, that definitely turned around really quick. So the red line continues to go down, the blue line's starting to turn. And yeah, that looks pretty healthy. So if this really is the next leg up, yeah, the next leg is going to head to 64k before we'll probably have another stupid bounce back. Ugh, God, that could take months, man. That could take months. If things really are just like what they were in 2017, yeah, that means October is going to be kind of crap. Or at least when Bitcoin hit 64k. Then we have to wait for the consolidation, and then after that, it has to come the final hyper pump. The problem is, Bitcoin's been so suppressed, so I don't know, man. I really don't want to be holding crypto during December, not during a bull run. But then this bull run has been so slow too. There hasn't been enough time to, quote unquote, enjoy it. So I don't know. Like, imagine it's like December 1st and Bitcoin's at 240 grand. I actually would not have any idea what I would do. And it's not going to be too helpful if I find that this indicator here, the search interest, is like still kind of low. So, because I want to sell it when I see the interest in crypto go up to something like this high up. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. Anyway, tomorrow is Thursday, so that'll be the last stream for the week. And yeah, I'm definitely going to enjoy having a couple days off. So. And it'll be time to try to work on the game for real this time after all these months of training myself in Unreal. And we'll see how it goes. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. I will see you all tomorrow